From each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are. From memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried. And with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight. Reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I am Jeffrey, and we have made it to the year 1986. And the first film of the year 1986 is Disney Feature-Length film number 168 from July the 2nd of 1986. It is The Great Mouse Detective. The Great Mouse Detective is obviously a return to animated classic, and it is based on the children's book series The Basil of Baker Street by Eve Titus and Paul Gauldon. Would you like to start us off with a synopsis about The Great Mouse Detective?
Basil, the rodent Sherlock Holmes, investigates the kidnapping of a toy maker and uncovers its link to his archenemy, Professor Ratigan.
That's right. So, like you said, it definitely has some nods to Sherlock Holmes. Um, this film is the success of this film is widely credited as keeping the Walt Disney Animation department going. For those that watched our last talk about the last Disney animated film, The Black Cauldron, they had talked about scrapping the whole department after the failures and struggles of that film. And this film is widely regarded as the film that saved the company and set up for the Disney Renaissance, which we all know and love, which is quickly coming, and it is the most prestigious and lucrative products the company's ever made, and things that they're still running off of to this day. So this film is clearly an important one. Thoughts on the film, The Great Mouse Detective?
I know I've seen it at least once before we watched it again for this, but it's still one of those films that doesn't really stick with me, so I guess it's kind of hard for me to believe that this is what saved the company, but
It saved the company.
and I always, for some reason, I guess, get this confused with the Rescue Rangers.
Oh, it wishes, but
Yeah,
we'll get there. There wouldn't be Rescue Rangers without this.
probably not.
But all right, well, let's talk about the film real quick. 1800s, they're in London, shocking. And we meet a young mouse named Olivia Flaversham. It's her birthday. Her father is a toy maker, and he's making her some toys. But then this bat, like bat with a peg leg, comes and kidnaps her father, Mr. Flaversham. So she is left all alone, and she decides that she's going to find the famous Basil of Baker Street, the famous Great Mouse Detective. But on her way, she runs into um, I think his name was Dawson. He's like a retired army dude, army mouse, obviously, who just returned from Afghanistan, and he meets and escorts her to like the residence, like he helps her.
Hmm.
Um, all right, so the characters are set. Um, Basil really doesn't want anything to do with them, but then when Olivia mentions that it was like the bat that abducted her father, he instantly knows that bat was Fidget, and the Fidget is the assistant of course, the Professor Ratigan, his arch nemesis. Um, so he's been trying to catch him. So basically, it then cuts to Ratigan, who is he
Sorry.
he what's the word for it? He kidnapped Flaversham basically to force him to create a robot replica of the Queen of Mice.
Yep.
Right. So basically Radigan wants to use that to become the like take over for her, become the supreme ruler. Um and Flaversham was against it until they were like, well, we're gonna capture your daughter and we're going to harm her and kidnap her and stuff like that.
Yep.
Um a lot of hijinks comes. They um they chase after like Basil, Dawson, and Olivia. They chase after the rat and bat on their dog, which is in this picture above us. Toby, the basset hound, who is like on their scent. Um,
And for some reason, the dog has always been more nostalgic for me with this film than the mice itself. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's so big on the cover.
he is big on the cover. And there's also a cat in this film who Radigan feeds one of his people to. Um, let's see.
Very Winston-esque.
So whatever, they're on to the plan. But Fidget does is able to kidnap Olivia. Um, Basil's like doing his tests, like his Sherlock Holmes tests to try to figure out where they are. He ends up finding him that he's by the river. They disguise themselves as sailors to try to head to the tavern where they find Fidget. They follow him to the headquarters, but he's ambushed by Radigan and the henchmen. Um, they're like tied up on mouse traps. Like every possible negative thing is like ready to go off on them. There's like guns and knives and swords and cannons and all that stuff. But he sets like, and then he goes off to Buckingham Palace. Radigan does to like hijack the royal queen, basically the royal guards and stuff. Um, but then Basil and Dawson are able to escape. They like trick the system and stuff in the fun scene there. Um, Radigan and those dudes are like they're forcing the Flaversham, the dad, to like operate the toy, like the queen, to like get the um the people to believe that it's the real queen, while they're gonna feed the other queen to the cat, like I mentioned earlier, whose name is Felicia. Um, the fake queen declares Radigan as the ruler, um, but then at the same time, like Basil and Dawson, who just got free, they save Olivia and they save the father and the real queen, and they like take over the controls and like the henchmen. Um, Toby the dog chases Felicia the cat away, and there's more nonsense and fun stuff going on. They end up seizing control of the queen, which makes them denounce and explain what's really going on. Um, the crowd is all upset, so they um, are trying to go after him, but then Radigan and Fidget kidnap or they hold Olivia hostage. They like take her or whatever. Um, but then Basil and his crew make like a airship, like a airplane type deal with balloons and stuff.
Hmm.
They chase after them. They end up on Big Ben.
Hmm.
Um, they're on the clock tower, but then
Movies do you think Big Ben has been
eh,
referenced in the Disney movies?
not enough. Basil ends up fighting Radigan. They rescue Olivia. They like basically the clock like strikes and the vibrations causes Radigan to fall and I would assume to his death. Tries to take Basil with him, but Basil grabs onto a piece of the thing. And we're back at Baker Street and we're talking about the adventure and
Hmm.
people live happily ever after. And Dawson decides to stay and help Basil in the future.
Hmm. I know this is gonna sound really weird, but Ratigan reminds me of Penguin off of
Yeah.
Batman.
It's a great decision. Ratigan's great. Ratigan's a good villain.
But
Big
like
fan.
looks wise, that's who he reminds me of.
Yeah. All right.
The Penguin.
He's voiced by Vincent Price from Edward Scissorhands and a bunch of other things.
Perfect.
So, thoughts on the film, The Great Mouse
It's not my
Detective?
least favorite, but it's definitely not my favorite. And IMDb rated a 7.1 out
Yeah,
of
it's a
10.
strong one.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
For any reason?
Um, like I said, it wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't like my least favorite. I definitely felt like it was a little bit more than mid-card. Um, other than that, no. Just saved the company, I guess,
Yeah, it
but
did.
congrats on saving the company. Because think about how many movies we would have missed out on had it not.
But think about how short this podcast could have been. But so
Like they
then
wouldn't have made other
it's true.
live action films to watch. But okay.
So talk to me about lists and stars and all the fun things in
So
between like
list
that.
and stars, this does not shine its way onto my list.
Okay.
So my list upon a star starting at number 10 is The Apple Dumpling Gang. The Apple Dumpling Gang rides again. The Undergrads, Dumbo, Sleeping Beauty, The Parent Trap, The Fox and the Hound, Tex, 101 Dalmatians, and The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Mhm. Well, I like this movie, and I'm gonna put it on my list because it's nostalgic and good, and saved the company. And I like them more than I like Pete's Dragon. So Pete's Dragon had a good run of probably like 20 years or something like that.
Bye, Pete.
But yeah. So I am going with number 10. The Great Mouse Detective. Number 9, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Number 8, Alice in Wonderland. Number 7, The Fox and the Hound. Number 6, Robin Hood. Number 5, the Peter Pan. Number 4, The Amazing Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. 3, Mary Poppins. 2, The Rescuers, and 1, 101 Dalmatians. But we have a new list maker of The Great Mouse Detective.
So you're telling me that you liked it better than Pete's Dragon,
I did like it.
but not better than Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Okay.
What gave it away?
I don't know. You had to think for a minute. You obviously had to put some thought into it, so
Yeah, it's good.
yeah.
But yeah, we made it through the first film of the year 1986. We are quickly
Approaching our
approaching the Renaissances, and we are even quicklier approaching our lives.
quickly.
Um, quicklier approaching our lives. Our parents were watching this film when they were pregnant with us. How does that make you feel? It came out in July.
I don't know if my mom watched movies like this.
Um, let us know at deepdivethemagicpod@gmail.com. But either way, thanks for watching this film. I liked it. It's making the list. It's a keeper. Our next film number 169, we are staying in July of the year 1986, with a sequel. And it's a sequel that got moved from the theater to the TV. So it was a Disney Channel film, and it is The Parent Trap 2. Parent Trap 2. We watched The Parent Trap 1 a million years ago, which is on your list at number 5. Will The Parent Trap 2 be on your list? We will find out next time. But before then, thanks for hanging out with us. We are on Instagram, where you can watch us try to figure out our technological mishaps, at Deep Dive in the Magic. We are on Spotify and YouTube, where you can see all of this. So thanks for your likes, shares, comments, ratings, reviews, telling your friends. It means the world to us. It is the easiest way for people to learn about this nostalgic nonsense.
Mhm.
And of course, if you would like to write to us about movies that you watched when you were pregnant, deep dive pod@gmail.com. So, but our next film, again, we will be watching
The Parent
Parent
Trap
Trap
2.
2. But until then, have fun.
Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.